Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film review. Today, we are
Mhm.
going to take a look at The Tank. This is available on Amazon. This actually came out last year, so we're watching it in 2026. And,
Yeah.
it's a 2 hour film, and it's sort of in the same sort of realm as All Quiet on the Western Front, right? You think so?
Yeah. It reminds me of that because, it's because the movie's from the German perspective, it reminds me of that. And it also reminds me of the movie Fury with Brad Pitt, which
Mhm,
is an excellent movie.
mhm.
I suggest you, after you finish this pod, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. I
Yeah.
think it's on Netflix still, but like that is a top-notch movie about a tank life. And it's kind of interesting because the two movies they have the two parallels about the what it's like living in a tank from the
Wow.
German's
Yeah.
perspective and from the US perspective. And they both groups saw some stuff. Being in a tank, you see some stuff out
Oh,
there in
yeah.
the battlefield. It's crazy. So yeah, I thought like overall this movie's you can give our scores right now. This movie is excellent.
Yeah.
And it has a twist at the end. I was like, "Oh." It
I
was
had
good before the twist, and at the twist hit, I was like, "Oh, this movie's great."
Yeah, the one of the cool things about this film is, right, and I'm starting to see this a lot more now because I think
Mm,
people are starting to like the writing is on the wall. It's like, yeah, you can do all of this popcorn sort of stuff like Transformers and everything else, right? But I
mhm.
think what people or these creators are doing, these like film people are doing, they're like, you know what? Let's create an awesome, compelling film
Yeah.
and let's put it on a streaming service. We don't have to go to the theaters. Like if right now,
Mhm.
I was like listening to Ben Affleck do an interview on All the Smoke, and he was
Yeah.
basically saying that like, okay, you make a film, what type of films can you play in the theater today? Think about that. You think
Mhm.
the tank could like, actually be in a theater today? No, right?
Yeah, and for people probably wouldn't watch it. It's like a I wouldn't say it's an art house type movie, but, like,
Mhm.
it's got that sensibility of an art house movie
Yeah.
with just a bigger budget
Mhm.
and moving parts and explosions and stuff like that, but, like, it's definitely because like, you gotta think about this, the movie is from the Germans' perspective,
Mhm.
and they're not looking like themselves as the bad guy. Well, parts of the movie, they're like when they burnt up the church with the people inside, like
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh no, are we the baddies?" They did that, right? But like generally, they're looking at themselves like, "I'm just I work in the army, man. I'm run tanks. That's
I
all I
take
do. Like,
orders. That's all.
I
I
take
take
orders."
orders. You know.
Yeah, so
S-
that's the part that's fascinating about it. Like they're not looking at themselves like, "Oh my god, we're so horrible. We did all these terrible things, whatever." Like it's just like this is our life, and they just moved on from there. And I think that's why I liked it because it wasn't trying to. They weren't trying to be some moral police or be like, "Look how bad we are," whatever, whatever. They're just like, bad stuff happens in war, and
yeah.
then we're just gonna go to tell this our story in this movie, and that's the end of that.
Now,
That's a good part of the movie is that part, the
yeah,
fact that they weren't focused on it.
right.
Just like here's a story about some guys in a tank. Go.
And it did take place on the Western Front during the battle.
Mhm.
But as I'm looking at the tank, and also I have to like revert back to All Quiet on the Western Front. I will say this about the two movies: both of them
Mhm.
completely fascinating and compelling. But
Yeah.
All Quiet on the Western Front, visually, it looked better. Like in the
Yeah,
tank,
yeah.
I'm watching the tank and I'm like, I'm seeing some like sort of, some CGI stuff. I'm like, oh, there's a little CGI right there. I'm like, oh, that wasn't
Yeah,
good
yeah.
CGI either, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
but I can't imagine this budget being so like crazy on this film either. I don't think it was crazy. But if you let me go here, I'm just gonna go over to IMDb and just show you. Let's see here. So thus
Mhm.
far, let me go. IMDb gave it a 6.5, dude. Come on.
That's low, man.
That's low
That's
as
low. I
anything, right?
disagree.
A
Mhm.
6.5. I'm just like, so I don't know about that. So I'm watching the
Mhm.
film, and it starts off with, just like this is
A
a tank,
battle.
a battle,
A
yes.
intense battle.
Right. And
Mhm.
these guys are part of a tank crew, right? So it's like five in a
Mhm.
tank, a commander and like four others, right? And then they
Mhm.
have to go on a special mission, right? And but is it a special mission? I mean, I don't know. According to him, he thought it was a special mission, but according to
Mhm.
Hardenberg, maybe it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? But the film
Mhm.
was compelling enough to me to one continue watching it. I love a good military flick too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
so do I. Yeah.
and two, it was just like again, it was the film was really just focused on this like for a really long time, for like probably three-quarters of the film, really focused on this tank crew, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
And the focus is the tank crew and, like, their day-to-day lives, and they
Yeah.
they got free fuel, they gotta go past unsavory people in the army, and they gotta
Yeah.
go do stuff. They gotta be around things they don't wanna be around.
And see
I
things
think
they don't want to see either.
yeah, these things yeah.
Excuse me.
So the I guess we could talk about the plot twist is,
Yeah, what's up?
uh so basically, he dies at the beginning of the movie, and he's recalling this thing, and it doesn't make sense until the very end of the movie when he completes his mission, and they go into this bunker to go get the guy, and then he just when they were sitting at the table, and he just notices the death and decay at the table. There's all this food. He's like, "Hey, come down,
Like
sit down,
got
and eat
got
food with
maggots
me."
on it, mold,
And his
everything.
maggot, everything's mold
Mhm.
everywhere, and he's like, "Yo, what the hell?"
Right.
And he starts and the general it was a sergeant or general
Mhm.
he's supposed to bring him the premise of the movie is he's supposed to go all the way to the Western Front, go pick up this guy who thinks he's gonna he's gonna be a snitch. They
Yeah.
think he's gonna snitch everybody out. So you gotta
Mhm.
go out there and grab him, bring him back to Central Command. That's the whole premise that's what they're telling us the premise of the movie is.
Right.
And then he goes and finally meets up with this dude with his missing a hand. He's sitting next to the fireplace and he's talking to him. He's like, "Wait a minute, am I dead? Like, what the hell is going on right now?" That for me, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy."
It's very
Yeah,
good
yeah.
too. It was, I mean, like to do that, to do that in a way, right?
Mhm.
Because now let me ask you this here. Okay, let's say 1 hour into the film, did you
Mhm.
already know that he was dead?
Mm-mm.
Did you know that he was dead? When did you know he was dead?
The second I looked at the table and
Mhm.
everything was decaying and there's
Yeah.
maggots and everything on the table,
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, this guy's dead."
Right. Right.
That's the second and the way the general was talking to him, I think it was a general or major or something like that.
he
Anyway,
was a he was a he,
he's a
yeah, he
high
was
up
like a
guy.
colonel. Uh huh.
Yeah, he's a big
Mhm.
boy.
Yeah.
But so the way he was talking to him, he's asking about like, well, you remember the fire, you remember this. So he's pointing this stuff out that happened in the movie. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's done for.
Mhm.
Because I thought it was weird that they're at this base and there's no guards. The guards are dancing with girls and they're drinking.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching the base
I
because
mean,
it's supposed to be
they walked into the bunker, and I'm just like, whoa. No,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you said, no guards, nothing like that. It's just like,
Nobody's
um,
doing their job. Everyone's just chilling.
there was a booby trap, but I'm not quite
Mhm.
sure how we saw that wire, the trip wire, but there was a booby trap. Um, and yeah, that was kind
Yeah.
of interesting. And here's the other thing, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so let me ask you this here.
Okay.
So while they were trying to get to the base, the bunker, right?
Mhm.
They had went over the bridge that like caught on fire and collapsed. They went presumably, okay? They went
Yeah.
over the bridge. They got over. The bridge was like destroyed. It was blown up and it caught on fire. Presumably they got over. They got
Well, you never saw it. You just see everyone's burning up
right.
inside, and they just cut
Mhm.
over to the gang
Right, exactly.
instructions.
Well,
So,
you saw like fire around, you know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah,
think,
but
and there was
you
a
don't
little bit
feel
inside too, right? Uh-huh.
yeah, you don't get the impression that, "Oh, they all died." You feel like because the first thing he asks them when he sees them at the beginning of the movie is, "Hey, you fix the take up." So you're like, "Oh, they
Mhm.
survived. All of them, they're all good." Like, he's like, "No,
Yeah.
no, no.
But
Everybody
check
died."
but check this out. Okay, so that happened once
Mhm,
they had to cross the bridge to start the mission, to continue the mission. So they crossed the
mhm,
bridge presumably, right? But during
mhm.
the mission, someone actually died. So how do you square
Yes.
that? How do you square that? I mean, like if I mean they went over the bridge, right?
Yeah.
And presumably, again, they died,
Mhm.
right? But according to this, they didn't die. But they did
Yeah,
die.
yeah.
But as
No,
they're going
because
on their mission, someone like got some shrapnel and died. How did that happen if they were already dead?
I think when he was talking to the major at the end of the movie,
Mhm,
the major's making him recall stuff that happened, and it's a different version of events.
mhm,
So, like, the movie, from his perspective, what happened was, when they went to refuel at the school or church or wherever that was,
mhm.
they gave the impression that, it was just some soldiers that did the thing. And it turns out, no, he did the thing.
Right.
It was him that did the burn the place down. He's the one that gave the call to do it. He gave the impression that, oh, we were just getting gas and we weren't really doing anything bad. Like, we didn't do anything wrong. We
Mhm,
just got gas and we're like, okay, we're gonna sleep in the tank and get out of here after that. But the reality is, oh, you guys burnt the place down with all the people inside. And so, like, you don't really get that until the end of the movie when he talks to him about what happened. And so that's the thing, is his version of events are not the real version of events. He's watered down these things to make himself feel better about it. And I think all of this stuff is happening right before he dies, as the tank is going down into the water.
mhm.
I think he's flashing these moments all in his head about
The
everything that
light keeps
happened.
coming on the flight, they just going
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to the
yeah. He's
light.
just
Mhm,
flashing. Like, I think that's kind of what's happening here.
mhm.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I like the movie a lot. I thought it was great.
I actually like the movie a lot. I thought it was again, like I said, it's almost like
Mhm,
the movie game for me today, and also the TV series game for me today.
mhm,
It's almost like the music industry, and let me explain really quickly. So
mhm.
right now, music just isn't good. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's just not good. So you have to now pick and choose what you want to listen to. You have to say, you know what? Like for instance, hip hop is, I don't know. I'm not going to say hip hop is dead, but hip hop
Oh,
is
it's
not what
dead,
it
dead.
used to
I'll
be.
say it.
Yeah.
Hip hop is dead. I'll
It's
say it. It
right.
is
So it's
garbage.
like, okay, I like hip hop. So who can I like listen to? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like hip hop, right?
Mhm.
So I have
Yeah.
to like now, like, listen to the Tyler, the creators and everyone else, just people who are doing like more interesting things with
Yeah, try and
music,
take your
right?
risk. Take
Right,
your risk.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so that's how it is for me, like in like with TV and film. It's just like, okay, do
Mhm,
I want to watch the Transformers or do I want to watch the Tank? Do I want to
mhm.
watch you know, Fallout or do I want to watch Silo? You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
it's just so many goofy things out there, so many like franchise things out there. It's just like, okay, but where's the really cool stuff? Because again, when you go to the theater, it's like this is like a $500 million film. If it's in the
Mhm.
theaters, it's a really expensive film. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
just by nature of it being in the theaters,
Right.
it's gotta have a certain amount of budget. I don't know if this thing was, the Netflix just bought it and just put it out or whatever
Mhm.
the distribution deal was, but, like, you don't have to spend as much knowing that it's gonna go on a streaming service
Right.
after.
Yeah. So
The special effects or just
yeah, I
how much
love
money
that
you're spend
model.
for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that
it's better.
model. Yeah, because it's
It
just
needs
like,
You
you
gotta
know,
bring things down.
yeah, and it's like it just feels a lot more creative to me. I mean, well, and I
Mhm.
don't want to like obviously something. All of this stuff is creative. You can't just even if it's a sucky movie, it's still creative. Someone's like saying, "Hey, I want this camera angle, whatever, whatever, whatever." Um,
Yeah.
so it's still sort of creative. But I just love like this sort of cool stuff like the
Mhm.
Tink because it's just a really compelling story. Um, the characters are really cool. I mean, it was really what like okay, you had the main character. It was just a tank crew, right? Five
Yeah.
people, really. And just
Mhm.
their lives as a tank crew, like in a German Panzer Tiger. Now the interesting thing about this, we were just talking about it offline,
Mhm.
where the Panzer Tiger was one of the most feared tanks in the Second
Yes.
World War. This
That's the thing
thing,
that instantly caught me about this movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the American tanks. No, I mean, like these
The
missiles.
Abrams.
Yeah, the Abrams. They
Yeah.
would just bounce right off of it, right? The M1 or whatever, right? The Russian
Mhm,
tanks. The Russians. They just like they would just throw like a million tanks at you, right? The
mhm.
Russians built a tank specifically to
Yeah, it was a
kill,
tank killer,
to destroy,
tiger
like,
killer.
the Panzer Tiger. I mean, you could
Yeah, yeah.
send 2 or 3 Panzer Tigers into a battle with like 100 tanks,
Mhm.
and those 100
Yes,
tanks would lose. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
That's how
It was
feared
a
the Tiger
problem.
was. Yeah.
And that's the one thing, like, if you watch the Fury movie, they give you a perspective of, if you see one of these, you run.
Yeah.
And so that I thought that was really interesting about this movie is when they saw the Russian tank, they're like, "Oh God, we gotta get out of here.
Hmm.
We ain't gonna make it." They're running for their lives when they saw the Russian tank, and it's basically the biggest thing eats the biggest thing, and the biggest thing is you have that level of, we're not at that level here. You, something's bigger out there than this, and then the thing that's bigger than that is out there, like as a bigger fish, a bigger jaws out there. And the Russian tank was the SU-1000, whatever,
Yeah. Hmm.
100.
Hmm.
That was the great white out there,
Yeah.
the killer whale. That's what that was.
Even the
About the little
Germans said it.
dolphins,
Tank
whatever.
killer, tank killer.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's back
He was
up.
like, "Oh
You
God."
know what I'm saying? Back up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
okay, so oh boy is dead. I mean, like he died like in the first like 20 minutes of the joint, right? Even
yeah.
though they presented it like he didn't, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So his whole thought process of like how this whole thing happened, right? Even though he was dead, but his whole crew died in this like fire. But
Mhm,
like his imagination was like, oh, okay, one of my tank crew members died. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
we almost got blown up by like a landmine. Like one of his boys had his hand under the landmine. And it was just like,
Mhm,
oh, that was kind of fascinating. So again,
mhm.
there wasn't a really lot going on between the travel of this tank trying to get to Hardenberg. It wasn't really a lot going on. I mean, like, yes, when they went underwater, that was sick, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was sick.
The
That was
tiger can
crazy,
go
yeah.
underwater, dude, for real.
I did not know that, alright?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
the tiger, man. You know what? Yeah, the tiger went underwater, and that was kind of cool. And
Mhm.
once the once the Russian tank killer was like, okay, we got to find that. Then that's how these battles went. Like, they were just like these tanks going after each other, and they
Mhm.
would like disguise themselves. Put stuff on
Yeah,
on
yeah.
top of their bodies and everything. It was just, yo, it's like it was kind of crazy, but that's how the war was, man. So again,
Mhm.
this film it was just something really cool to watch and different to
Yes.
watch.
I think it was like a manly art house movie, like,
Mhm.
'cause, they were drinking alcohol, they're shooting, blowing things up, like, guys would like this kinda thing,
Yeah,
um, but, like, it's kind of like an art house, because 'cause they're talking about their feelings, they're talking about they gotta get back home to their girlfriend or their wife, whatever, like,
yeah.
that's what the focus was,
Mhm.
and it was like a personal movie with tanks and explosions and stuff like that in it. I guess that's the best way to describe it.
It was
Very,
crazy, man.
very personal, introspective, and like it's tight about what's happening in the setting of a tank, a tiger, Panzer Tiger tank. It's in the setting of that, but it's
Yeah,
like interpersonal skills and how these guys work. Like, partway through the movie, they tried to overthrow him. Like the
right.
was the
You know,
lieutenant. They tried to take over the tank. So, like,
let's
you know what I'm
let's
saying?
put
Like,
it to a
it was
vote.
fascinating.
you
Yeah,
know,
no, it was very fascinating. I I don't know, like, it doesn't
excuse me.
there's action in it, like, I'm trying to explain to people who watch it, yeah, like, there's some action in it, but, like, that's not the focus of it.
Yeah, that's not the
The
focus.
focus is this mofo died, and he's reliving his life right
Mhm.
now. That's the focus of the movie.
Yeah. Mhm.
They
It
forget all that, like, it's about this.
which I think see that sort of like angle just made the
Mhm,
film so it just made the film so butter. It was just like very
mhm.
compelling. I'm like, wow. And then in the end, like when they finally told us, like, oh, yo, this guy already died, I was like, I was like, wow, this joint is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sick.
I was chilling in my chair. I got right up. I stood up. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right.
I was like,
Very
like
interesting.
sometimes, like when you're in the theater, and this is a great film, and people start clapping,
Mhm.
applauding, like at the film, at the end of the
Yeah.
film. I'm like, if this joint was in the theater and like, at the end, I'd be applauding, like, yo, this joint was really cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I salute to you guys, all right? He did a good
Yeah, this
movie.
is really good movie, man. So we are talking about The Tank. This is available on Amazon. Kia, what are you gonna rate The Tank?
I give it an 8.
Hmm.
I liked it. Like, it's not see, the thing about it is there's not as much action in it as Fury or, some of these other movies,
Fury had a lot of
but
action, with a lot of
right,
killing and stuff.
Fury had some crazy action in there,
Really?
or, like,
Okay.
It's kinda like Save It Private Ryan
Yeah, I
as,
saw that. That was pretty cool.
the
Hmm.
start of it's crazy,
Hmm.
and then it's the story is the journey after that
Right.
happens.
Hmm.
After they get through D-Day,
Hmm.
that's the story.
Right.
And so it kinda reminded me of that level of thing. They're going through a journey,
Hmm.
but, no, that's the vibe I got out of it. So if you like this kinda stuff, you like World War II, you like history, this kind of thing, it is interesting. Now, some people are like, "Oh, this is great." Other people are like, "Ah, this sucks. Not enough explosions. I need some robots or whatever." Like, I can't do anything about that.
It's
But,
not
like,
all about the
for
explosions
me,
all the time.
yeah, yeah, for me, I thought this was great. I give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it an 8. I thought this was a great film. Um, Again, like I said, I love films that just say something, do something. You know what I'm saying? It's just not like, oh, and I keep mentioning the Transformers because we're going to get another
Mhm.
Transformers film and we know what it's going to be. You know, if I'm
When?
watching something, right?
Yeah.
What's really important to me now is like, do I know what it is? Do I know what it's going to be? I didn't know what this film was. I didn't know what it was going to be. In the
Mhm.
beginning, I thought, oh, this is going to be a tank battle, blah, 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 pitch battle, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. And it just wasn't like that. Like you said, not a lot of killing. Well, you saw like a lot of dead
He
bodies,
saw some
you
stuff.
know,
Yeah, he saw
right.
some
But you
stuff.
know what? These dead
This is the
bodies, like old
story.
boy said, he was like, these bodies are like too old to be dead. Something else happened.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That was
right.
that was another clue
That was
right
another
there.
clue
That was
right
another
there, right?
clue.
I was like,
Yeah.
so how does he know, right? So I guess in
Mhm.
his dream, his imagination, he was just like, I want my crew to like remind me that there are some things that are just out of place here, right? Again,
Mhm.
who thinks about that? Very fascinating film. The Tank is available on Amazon. Go check it out. We both gave it an 8, and it's a very fascinating and compelling film. So go check it out. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.